What's going on, traders? It's Mike from CapitalHillFX, and today we're just going to go over the trades that I placed earlier in the week with my premium members, and then we're going to go into the weekly market analysis, going over pairs that could potentially play out. So the first trade that I placed earlier this week was Euro Canadian dollar. It was a basic sell off of a significant daily resistance level. We're going to start off on the daily time frame, of course. We can see that we have a super clear daily horizontal level that price has respected in the past. We closed past the zone, and we're just waiting for price to come back and test it as the opposite structure. We were initially trying to test it as support. We broke through it and came back to potentially test as resistance, and we were looking to capture a bearish bounce towards the downside. We could see way back in the beginning of the year, sort of February 1st, 2023, we bounced here multiple times as resistance, broke through it, tested as support, pushed towards the upside, and then we broke through it, and we could be coming back to test as resistance. We're going to go down to the hourly time frame and see the price action that was playing out around the significant horizontal level. We can see I do have a smaller structured zone outlined within the larger zone. We can see that we put in a high around this significant horizontal level, had a small bearish bounce, and then came back to test the previous highs and left a very top heavy wick with the position the real buy near the bottom of the candle, giving us a good indication that we could potentially head back towards the downside. I ended up placing a sell with my stop loss above the level, about 50 pips, and my take profit at a 1 to 1.5. Take profit got smashed. It's as simple as that. We sold around a significant daily resistance level, and it worked. It's as simple as that. Let's go into NZD Canadian dollar. So some of these trades did not work, right? I mean, this is all statistical probability. That's all trading is just trading probability. Nothing's ever 100% or 0%. It's always in the middle. And finding out your statistical probability is one of the best ways to find profitability in the market, in my subjective opinion. But what do I know, right? NZD Canadian dollar, we'll probably have to go back to the weekly time frame. We can see we have a super clear weekly support zone that price has interacted with as support and resistance in the past. We could see way more recently we have not respected it as support. That is exactly why I ended up getting stopped out of this trade. But market structure wise on the weekly daily time frame, super sound daily horizontal level. Price isn't always going to bounce at these daily levels. Statistically speaking, it does react or bounce at that level more often than not, but that doesn't mean it's going to bounce every single time. So we can see on the daily time frame, these were sort of the lows that I was looking to trade a bounce off of. And then when we go down to the hourly time frame, we'll probably be able to see some price action that was beginning to bounce. We could see that we began to dip into this zone. Didn't exactly tap this smaller structured zone, but we were getting a lot of bullish price action. We could see these top heavy wicks, which is not bullish price action, it's bearish. But then once we actually interacted with the lows, then we started to form these nice bullish candles. I think the lesson that I learned from this one is wait for more bullish price action, because to be quite honest with you, yes, there was a lot of indecision, but there wasn't as much bullish price action than I should have entered on, right? I should have waited for a lot more bullish price action, tweezer bottoms, morning doji stars. I mean, there's so many different things that I could have waited for, more validation, more confirmation, rather than what I ended up entering on. And we can see we just ended up slamming stop loss. Just like we slammed take profit on Euro Canadian dollar, we slammed stop loss on NZD Canadian dollar. But like I said, I want to see way more valid price action respecting the zone, like actually validating, confirming that price is going to respect here. Like we put in a low, put in that bullish bounce, and then we come back to test the previous lows. We fail to wipe out the lows, and we're continuously printing those nice bullish candle closures, those bottom heavy wicks, giving us a good idea that price is going to end up respecting the zone. We didn't really get that here. We just got like two solid candles, nice bullish candles, just meeting the previous highs where we've had a difficult time wiping out. And then we ended up just putting in that new lower low and wiping out the stop loss. But it is what it is. It's always nice to leverage these losses as lessons and opportunities to grow in the future, and that's exactly what we're going to do with this trading setup. And also with AUD Canadian dollar, daily time frame. So I actually stacked up the trades. The first trade that I placed was Euro Canadian dollar, and then I placed AUD Canadian dollar, and I stacked on Canadian dollar quote currencies by putting in another position, and it was a half a position on NZD Canadian dollar. So I only allocated 1% risk on NZD CAD, so I only got stopped out for 1%. The AUD Canadian dollar was 2%. So let's take a look at this, and also the Euro Canadian dollar winner was 2%. So I ended up winning around 2.5% on Euro Canadian dollar, and then I believe overall I lost like 1% on NZD CAD, and then another 1.5% on AUD CAD. So we're about break even for the week. But again, let's see. Daily time frame, we have a super clear daily support zone that prices only interacted with once in the past and way back in previous data back in November of 2022 to end the year. And it looked like we were beginning to interact with this zone as support. We're going to go down to the hourly time frame and just spot the bullish price action that we were looking. I had this zone marked up a little bit differently. It was like a little bit higher, so there was bullish price action being formed around the significant structure. Again, just some more bullish price action I should have waited for, like when price actually had the small bullish impulse towards the upside and then came back to meet the previous lows. I should have waited for these bottom heavy wicks and waited for the bullish impulse to push towards the upside and close towards the top half of the candle rather than just executing after a couple candles, right? So a little impulsive move when it comes to placing this trade, but we could see we end up started to head towards the stop loss. I closed out just to mitigate the risk. It looked like we were closing past the zone. Then we got some stability during the London session. We could see we ended up forming a lot of bullish price action. We ended up making our way towards the upside. I placed another buy, and it looks like we are floating around break even right now. I'm going to wait to see how the candles play out when the market opens come tomorrow, because if we start forming these nice wicks, like this is a very nice candle closure to close off the market or close out the week. So if we start forming candles like this, like really nice candles, and we did sort of just wipe out a high. I don't know if this is a wipeout or it was a test and fail, but to be quite honest with you, I do still like this trade setup. I mean, obviously we could easily just slam back towards the downside, but I'm just going to wait to see how the candles form around the significant structure in the market, because even if we go back to the 12-hour time frame, it does sort of look like we're still respecting the zone. There's nothing that's giving us an indication that we are going to violate, but that doesn't mean we won't violate. So I'm still going to wait for the candles objectively before actually exiting the position. Let's go into some other trading setups that could play out. AUD NZD. 12-hour time frame, we are pushing very aggressively into the significant daily / 12-hour resistance level. Just identifying the smaller structured zone within the larger zone. I think it's really deep and high into this zone, sort of where price is floating right now. Hourly time frame, we're beginning to print that bearish candle, but remember, we want multiple rejections away from the zone. So if we come back and test the previous highs and then form some nice bearish impulsive candles, that'd be nice for potential downside movement on AUD NZD. Just waiting for that bearish price action to play out. NZD JPY daily time frame, we can see that price is testing currently a support and resistance level. It's not exactly clear where the zone actually is, but we could see more recently that we are beginning to reject away from the significant structure in the market. On the 4-hour time frame, we could see we were trying to test the top half of the zone. We wiped out the lows, put in a really deep low, and now it looks like we're coming back and testing the 4-hour highs. So, excuse me. We're going to go down to the hourly time frame now using that top-down analysis approach. We can see we're beginning to print a lot of bullish price action. This is sort of an inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? Like you have the left shoulder, the break, which is usually the head, then the right shoulder, and it looks like price could potentially head back towards the upside. I do anticipate a nice brisk upward move for a lot of the JPY quote pairs. So, I mean, if you're sort of a risky devil, you could just place a buy right when the market's open and just hope that price goes towards the upside. Of course, you don't want to just hope and cross your fingers, but it's statistically based that if you're pushing to a daily support zone, we're starting to form bullish price action. That price could potentially bounce as support, and it makes sense to place buys. But don't take this as financial advice. I don't know anything. I'm just a kid who's trading on a hydraulic desk and using a Shure microphone that breaks every so often. No, but seriously, my microphone has been causing a lot of issues for me and my premium members. Super annoying. I literally had to, in the middle of the week, go and buy a new microphone just because it was like causing me issues. But that's Shure for you. But I do like their quality. USD CHF, we can see we're beginning to break and retest this significant structure in the market. I was not expecting a bearish bounce right here. I was waiting for a nice brisk push into the zone and then looking for that bearish price action. We could see that we began to push towards the downside, but it looks like price is coming back to retest the previous highs. Like I said, outline the smaller structured zone within the larger zone, waiting for price to really test this zone, and then I'll be looking for that downside movement. But if we go down to the hourly time frame, we can see that we did have a small bearish push, and then price came back and test the highs. I want price to wipe out these highs and put in a new high into the daily zone, and then wait for that double top or evening doji star, tweezer top, whatever it may be. NZD USD, I was semi-anticipating a nice little bullish bounce off the support zone. Looks like we broke through it. I'm just going to be waiting for a retest as potential resistance. That's it. On the hourly time frame, we already did this. We could see that we broke and retested the zone and then had that small bearish push, but we didn't really do it on the daily time frame. So I'm still waiting for retracement back towards this significant structure in the market. I'll actually place the alert. And that's it. I'll just wait for price to retrace back to that significant resistance level. If we spot bearish price action, cool, I'll place a sell. Euro CHF, it looks like we did have a break and retest of this significant structure in the market. I called this out in the free trading setups last week. It's very hectic with a lot of things, creating content, one-on-ones, talking with a business that I'm currently about to be partnering with. And I wasn't able to capture this trade. Super clear break and retest of a significant structure in the market. I 100% called this in the trading setups. Just a lot of top heavy wicks came back, retested the highs. And this was around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. my time, I believe. Oh, no, excuse me. This was around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. my time. So there's no excuse of why I didn't take it. It was just, I just wasn't in front of the charts watching this. So that's what's going to happen. You're going to miss some trading opportunities. You're going to miss some trading setups. It's just the name of the game. And I was not just looking at I just wasn't looking at the charts. No big deal. Just a break and retest of a significant structure in the market, put in a new lower high, and we end up having that bearish impulse towards the downside. AUD USD, last but not least, daily time frame. We could see that we are coming back to this nice daily zone. We tested this zone as resistance, not as much support. Actually, we haven't really tested this zone as support. So you're going to want to wait for that confirmation with the price action to validate that we're respecting here as support. But we definitely respected here as resistance way previous back in the end of 2022. So I'll be waiting for more bullish price action. We can see on the daily time frame, we formed a top heavy wick looking like we may drop more as resistance. But going back to the hourly time frame, it appears as we broke through the zone, but we had that small bullish impulse towards the upside, came back, met the lows. I'm going to wait to see what more bullish price action plays out. If we form more bullish price action and start to form bottom heavy wicks, position the real buy near the top of the candle, wipe out these highs, come back and test it, maybe looking for upside movement. But inversely, if we just continue towards the downside and then we come back and retrace for potential test of the highs, then I'd be looking for a downside movement. But to be quite honest with you, these types of trading setups where you don't know if it's being treated as support or resistance usually aren't good trade setups. So I'm most likely going to stay out of this one. The AUD NZD trade setup is way more well developed in my subjective opinion. Even NZD JPY makes sense, and USD CHF. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys are gaining some value and knowledge from these videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.